Hello, how are you today?
Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah?
Okay, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good.
Hmm. I see you chose a new lesson.
Yeah, because we have already finished
Yeah.
the last one.
Okay, so advanced conversation topics at online education. So in this lesson fee, we are going to do words related to online education. We will have discussion, pros and cons of online education, technology and online education, and blended learning. We will also
Okay.
do some follow up questions. Okay. So, do you like taking online language learning lessons?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it offer me many advantages. First of all, it allows me to save a lot of money. I mean, I do not have to travel, or I don't need to pay money for renting accommodation
Yes.
to move in to move to another city to take the course. Secondly, it allows me to study in a very flexible and convenient way. I mean, with a laptop with internet connection, I can learn in anywhere at any time that I want. And the last thing, especially when I learn English, I could access to native speakers easily than ever. And yeah,
Would you feel different if you were still at school and had to do it every day?
you mean if I were in school and attend traditional classes,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, of course, because both means of education has their own advantages and disadvantages. Like if I were in school, probably I would have more interpersonal interaction with my teachers and with my peers also.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, which subjects are more suitable for online education, in your opinion?
Wow, it's a really tough questions.
Mhm.
I think because as I told you earlier, both means of education has their own advantages and
Yes.
disadvantages. So I think it would be more productive and efficient if we can mix two means of education. And I think there is no subject more suitable for only online education, because um, it is the best way for us if we have if we practice and we have interaction
Interaction.
with our teacher.
Absolutely wonderful answer. Thank you. So now we're going to do vocabulary that is related to education. So if you can please read for me, I'll answer any questions at the end of the slide.
Okay. Distant learning is a system of education in which people study at home, usually being taught and given work to do over the internet. The company offer advanced degrees or professional certifications through distant learning. To enroll, to officially arrange to join a school, university, or course, or to arrange for someone else to do this. Many universities offer online courses that you can enroll in for free. Engagement, being involved with something in order to understand them or it. Studies show that using games in classroom increase student engagement.
Mhm.
Okay.
Do you have any questions here?
No, no.
Okay, you do know that engagement has multiple meanings.
Yeah.
Okay, next, please.
Integration, the action or process of combining two or more things so that they work together. The integration of technology in education enhance the student learning experience, adaptation, uh,
Adoption.
adoption. Sorry, the decision to start using a particular plan, method, or an idea. Recent technological developments have influenced the adoption of online education. Retention, the ability to keep something in your memory, including visuals with text, can help with the retention of information.
Any questions here?
Do you can you suggest me any like the antonyms of enhance in the first sentence? Like for
Yes.
example, distant learning may impair, I guess, the interaction between
Yes,
people.
but I'll give you another antonym for enhance.
Okay.
Okay, I'll write it in the chat here. Okay, so opposite is an antonym. Sorry, that is one antonym that you can use for enhance, but there are quite a few others as well, such as weaken,
Mm-hmm.
also an antonym for enhance, um, subdue, which is a more higher level of grammar, but also an antonym. Okay.
Okay.
Um, Also, let me see. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Opposite, weaken, and subdue. Any
Uh,
other questions?
I can use both of these words in writing, right?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
So, have you ever enrolled in a free online course for fun? If yes, what kind of course? If no, would you like to?
Okay. If my memory serves me right, for about 4 years ago, when I was a secondary a second year student, uh, I enrolled in a free online course from British Casual website. At that time, if I remember exactly, they offer their candidates a course to, that provide more information about IELTS examinations or some tips and tricks to have a better outcomes in learning English. Um, for me, at that time, the course was very interesting, and it is very useful. It was very useful, and I do appreciate it. Yeah.
I wrote a name in the chat here, Udemy. Have you heard
Mhm.
of Udemy before?
No, not yet.
Okay, maybe you should check that out because we've been getting emails and it's been broadcast on our televisions that this year they have many courses available for free.
Uh-huh.
So Udemy is actually giving you a course in various subjects, like even designing, graphic designing, fashion, and there are certain courses that is for free for this year.
Okay.
So feel free to check that out later, maybe when you have time.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Now, do you think the integration of technology and education increases engagement in the lesson?
Yeah, Absolutely. When I was a kid, when I went to school, I remember that most of my teachers just use a textbook and just use a textbook or a whiteboard to when they while transmitting knowledge to their students, and it was very boring. But nowadays, because of the improvement in technology, uh, teachers make use of technological devices and the internet uh, when they have lessons with children, and for example, they use some PowerPoint or slideshows with with creative pictures and videos that allows student have a better interest
Yes.
in learning and in studying. So yeah.
Okay. What might be some barriers to the widespread adoption of distance learning?
Mm, well, from my perspective, although distant learning has many benefits, it may deal with many barriers when um, regarding adoption. Um, the first one is uh, the the first one is the availability of technological devices for some
Yes.
people, uh, especially in developing country like Vietnam. Many people could not afford a laptop or a smartphone for their children to learn,
Mhm.
particularly especially for those who are in low income brackets.
Yes.
um, the second thing is that the because of people's traditional belief about traditional classes,
Mhm.
like they believe that it is more effective if children learn in face-to-face classes,
Mhm.
so they just partly avoid adopting e-learning. So
Yes.
yeah.
For me, in my country, too, especially in my city, the beginning of the pandemic, distance learning took on a new perspective because, as you say, the people in the low income bracket were not able to afford all these new technology and gadgets. And so, distance learning was very popular the first 2 years of the pandemic.
Mhm.
Okay, so what are some factors that affect the retention of information in a classroom?
Um, well, from a teacher's perfect perspective, I suggest that the first factors is the student notice. I mean,
Yes.
when they attend a course, they should know what kind of information or what kind of knowledge that they should notice, or what they should remember after class. So it is very significant for for teachers to to attract student notice
Mhm.
when they transmit knowledge to students. The second things is their engagement
Mhm.
in learning and in studying. And like for me, when I try to like try to learn a new word in English, for example, it is so boring for me if I just read textbook, something like
Mhm.
that. But if I um learn from a song, it is easier for me to
Yes.
remember that word. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. If you learn it through musical arts, it's going to be better, it's more fun, and you remember it. No matter how, but you do remember. So the next 5 slides, we'll just have conversation starters that is related to education. Okay. So what are some pros and cons of online education?
Mhm. Regarding the merits of online education, I suppose that it allows us to save a lot of money. I mean, from educational institution, they can save money from because they do not have to build offices. They do not have to buy physical equipments like
Yes.
whiteboard, chairs, and tables, to name
Mhm,
but a few. For student, they can save money because they do not have to. Because they study in at home, so they do not spend money on renting accommodation and traveling.
mhm.
The second benefit is that we can learn and teach in a very flexible and convenient way, as I told you earlier.
Yes.
Like we can teach and learn in anywhere at any time, even only as long as we have a technological device with internet connection. And
Absolutely correct.
yeah, uh, about about the merits of distant learning, I suggest that because this kind of education could weaken our interpersonal interactions with our teachers and with our peers, because we only see each other through a tiny screen.
Yes.
And the second advantage is that it seems like it may subdue students'
Yes.
encouragement or their motivation in studying, because it seems like it has less competitive between students
Mhm.
when they study compared to face-to-face classes. So I think sometimes they feel a little bit boring and less incentive in
Mhm.
studying.
Absolutely, I agree with everything you say. Quite right. Great answer, mind you.
Thanks.
How is successful online communication different than in person communication? And also, how can you communicate more successfully in online classes?
Um, Through the internet, we
Yes.
can communicate with many people in a short time, wherever we are. I mean, when I'm in Vietnam, I can have a conversation with you in South America. Like we can have friends, we can open our social friends,
Yes.
social circle all around the world.
Mhm.
um, but um, but it's also weakened our interpersonal interactions. I mean, face-to-face communication. You know, uh, whenever I go to the coffee shop with my friends, they spend most of their time on their smartphone rather than having conversation with
Mhm.
me. So yeah, I think it is the drawback of online communication.
Okay. Does that irritate you, Fee?
Yeah, completely, 100%. Yeah.
Because I would feel so irritated and I would cancel the coffee date altogether. Okay, thank you for sharing. So, what do you think is the appropriate level of computer knowledge or experience for a student taking online classes for the first time?
Mm, well, I suppose that a student when they take a an online class, they should know how to search for the website that
Yes.
the online classes is based on. They should know how to fix some errors if there is a disconnection because of the internet, um, and how to use some tool in the in website based which based on classes.
Mhm.
So yeah, that is it. Just some easy tasks and some simple tasks.
Yeah, I was that is what we are constantly working on is our stable connection. We need to have a really 120% stable connection. Otherwise, our classes will not go so smoothly. What should the student's attitude towards technology be, in your opinion, and why?
Well, I have to say that teenage youngster, especially teenagers, have a tendency to be more interested in technologies rather than any other generation.
Mhm.
So yeah, my answer is they are crazy about technology, or sometimes they are just addicted
Mhm.
to technology.
Yeah, I don't think anyone these days can do without. I had a question yesterday. I'm still waiting on the answer because when I have my next lesson with this student, she will answer me that question. And the question is, what would you do for one day without your smartphone, without your smartwatch, and without your laptop?
What should I? What will I do? Right?
Yes, what would you do? That is the question I posed to her yesterday. So later I'll get the answer to that.
Okay.
So think about it. Maybe you can answer me with our next lesson also.
Okay.
Okay. So, what are some cultural differences that may be present during online education and how can they be addressed?
Mm, well, I have never thought about it before because I haven't had that kind of experience because most of my online classes is monolingual class.
Okay.
So
Yeah, we had an experience not too long ago with group classes. There were four students, one Saudi Arabia, one Vietnam, one China, and one of Brazil. So there were four students.
mhm,
And the discussion was about not religious but important holidays in in everyone's country. And we were talking about Christmas. And the one from Saudi Arabia said, "Oh, well, that's not important." And I said, "Oh, no, not in my
oh,
class." And I said, and this is what I did. I said, um, "You are being impolite, and this is the way to handle this. We are all from different denominations. We come from different countries. We have different cultures. So, the very first thing to do is respect. The
mhm,
second thing to do is to be tolerant." Um, and then they started talking, and the lesson turned out very well because
mhm,
the one told the other about their beliefs and what they did, and they kind of shared it together with each other. And in the end, he was like really surprised as to how other people celebrate. And his mind became a little bit open to tolerance and respect of others.
Okay.
So there's a fine line as to how we have to deal with that, because we've got to
Okay.
be very subtle in dealing with things like that.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you. So here we have what can be done to improve online education. Who should be responsible for improving it?
Well, to improve online education, we should, of course, address the barriers regarding the adoptions of distant learning. So, firstly, we should probably the responsible would be like in would rely in the government. I mean, they should provide more um, technological gadgets
Yes.
for low income practice to allow them access online education,
Mhm.
or s- or yeah. The second thing is their belief, people's belief about online education, like um, the government and school should run some campaigns to raise people awareness about the advantages of online education. So I think they will be open minded to adopt distant learning.
Absolutely. Great answer. Thank you. Now I'd like you to weigh in, please, if you can read the top section for me.
Blended learning is a learning model that combines both a traditional classroom and self-led online courses. Some learning happens online in a format where the student views lecture material prior to class, while some learning happens in an instructor-led classroom.
Okay. Would you prefer blended learning?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is a method of learning and teaching that is really effective because we can have the combination of advantages between um traditional classroom and online classroom. So
Absolutely. So, in your opinion, what could be the advantages and disadvantages of blended learning?
the first potential advantage is that we can uh, we can both improve our uh, interpersonal interactions with our teacher and um, have a convenience and flexibility in learning and teaching. Um, it also saves a lot of time and money for learner because it creates a flexible learning network.
Yes,
Uh,
absolutely. And if we look at how much money parents are spending on transport, school uniforms, that can all be eliminated and maybe put towards their technology that they're going to need in order to do the distance learning or the blended learning. Hmm. Yes, let's see. So, follow up questions. A great way to keep a conversation going is by asking follow up questions. This means you ask another question based on the other person's answer to your first question. So, how can you create a sense of community in an online classroom? These are some examples as to how you can answer.
okay. One way might be for everyone to introduce themselves on the first day. And the follow up questions is what if some people are shy and don't want to talk?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that it's going to be quite difficult for everyone to start opening up on the second day. It's going to
Mhm.
take a lot of, I think, maybe a few classes, lots of building up of confidence and also trust within
Yeah.
that classroom to just open up and tell your story.